What are we talking about today?
You ready for my first two topics that you just tried to steal?
Yeah, go ahead.
Topic number 1. How many Zins are coursing through your veins right now?
0. I don't do that.
Be honest with me.
None.
Be honest.
1.
Just
one.
You're bad. It's been a wild 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You look a little heated. Did you have a rough day here?
No, I'm good.
No? Don't want to talk about it?
No, I'm good. We're bursting at the seams in our existing building. And we've been 3 years in the process of trying to get a new one built and just roadblock. So
You would think that a business is trying to pay an excessive amount of taxes to local government would get a building to help us grow, but you're facing what obstructions?
pretty much everything you could think of. It's very regulated. There's really no speed. Like you can't just say, hey, I want to put a building up and get a building put up. You got to go through 8 different divisions inside of the county. And then we, unfortunately, we're on the highway. So we have to deal with Department of Transportation. And it's not to say that they're doing anything wrong. It's just very slow, very slow.
You're a smart guy.
Yeah.
What would you do if you were running the local authority government right now for Whatcom County? For businesses, buildings, everything.
I don't know enough to make a comment.
That's fair. So you recognize that, and that's like half the battle, right?
Yeah, I don't know enough to. Yeah, I think you could easily say, well, do this, do that. I don't know. I just know that it's not good.
It's frustrating.
It's not good, and if it was run, like if that was a business, they'd be out of business, but it's not.
Yep.
And there's good reason that it's not a business. So I don't know. I don't have an answer for that one, but I know that it's painful.
Yeah.
Very painful to deal with.
Well, let's talk about pain. So as a business, it's been around 60 years. We've gone from about 15 people to 56, 57.
Yeah.
In 4.5 years.
3 years.
Yeah,
3
4 years or something.
Yeah.
Talk about the remodel of this building, because I think that's one of my favorite parts. If you live in Bellingham, you drive past our building, you'd never know what it looked like on the inside until you're here. Tell what we've been doing in the last year and a half.
Well, just in the last year and a half, I mean, the entire upstairs has been open as an office. It didn't used to be. It was really storage.
Shag carpet, storage.
Yeah, storage. It was old. I mean, before we did the remodel downstairs when I was 16 or so. So 2012-ish, I think, 2013. And before that, I mean, the building looked terrible. The outside of the building looked awful. The inside was just a maze. You couldn't really walk anywhere. There used to be a warehouse on one side and then a warehouse on the other, and in the middle was the office instead of having it all one side or the other. So it was just broken up, weird.
Yep.
Outdated, hadn't been remodeled. So we went through the big remodel X amount of years ago, almost 15 years ago. This upstairs hadn't been touched. And then we just grew to the point that we needed more office space. So remodeled that. And now we're at the point where I've got Grant on his computer over there. And this is a podcast studio / office because we ran out of office space again. So we're working out of storage containers. We've got a lot of storage containers. We're really constricted in the current building that we're in. And that's a good problem to have.
I want to literally talk about this, though, because very few people know this about you. Tell us about how you worked and lived here. Literally. People say that about their workplace, but I want to hear the story directly from you about this building.
Well, the upstairs, there was a little apartment that used to be rented out. And at one point in time, I said, well, I want to be able to focus on work. So I moved in. Yep. So I lived where I worked, and it was horrible. I did that for 4 years, and it got to the point where, I'd walk downstairs early in the morning, go to work, and then I just wouldn't show back up at home.
Yep.
So I'd be downstairs till 8:00 at night. I just had there was no separation between work and life.
Mm-hmm.
And that was rough. That was not something I would do again. And I'm glad that I made the decision. I mean, I was probably 25 when I bought my current house. So made that decision.
But I want to commend you for this, because this is something that people don't know when they look at the company that's growing and the sacrifice. When I first met you, I don't know if you remember this conversation, but I said, I've been watching what your company's doing. And the one thing that stood out to me is when you were doing marketing videos by yourself with a camera set up on a tripod, I could see it was dark in the background every time.
Oh, yeah. That was at night.
Yep. And I recognized it right away. And I said, this guy is, I'm not going to use the term drowning, but let's be real, drowning.
Drowning, yeah.
And you were trying to do all different functions of the business, but you would literally finish up at whatever, 8, 9.
Yeah.
And this isn't like going up. You literally walked up the stairs to bed and then came back downstairs and did it all over again.
Yep.
I still think about when we talk about the remodel of this building that has shapeshifted. You've seen it all. I've only seen 2-3 iterations of it. But when Ken Marr worked here, and I've seen I call it the stacks of receipts and the nightmare era of what it must have been like when you just see stacks of invoices and purchase orders a foot tall on every single corner of his office.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy how far we've come to this point. And now, like you said, we stare around and we have, I can't even count how many people working up here in the matter of a 2-year time frame.
Well, and I remember even 10 years ago, like we take the software we have for granted. Like
I know.
we did not have any visibility in what was happening in the field.
Yep.
And I think that kept us small. I really think that kept us small for a long time because we were not willing to let what was happening out in the field get out of control. And we felt like the only way we could control it was with what we had.
Yep.
And we just didn't know any better. And then once you get a software working that you can actually use and implement, then it changes everything. And so that was a big help.
Yep.
Remodeling was a big help. Changing our mindset on growth was a big help. I mean, we weren't in this business to grow it when I started. It was just, it's always been this way.
Yep.
And I had some energy and I was young. So
now
I was like, I don't want to do this. Yeah. Now it's all being propped up by caffeine. But, from age 20 to 27, that was a really rough 7 years. There was no weekend play. There was no doing anything. I used to love skiing.
Yep.
I go skiing all the time. I stopped skiing for 7 years because winter in our business is rough. Like it's, especially when you're smaller and you're doing multiple jobs. I just couldn't get away.
Yeah.
Could not get a break. And I'm really glad I did that now and that we've got the people we have now and I don't have to do that. But
we say we don't have to do that, but at the same time we're still quite in that loop. What would you say are the sacrifices that you've made in your 20s that in your opinion no one would understand?
Health.
Yeah, for sure.
Health is a big one.
1,000%.
I think the biggest thing is not that you're just inherently, unhealthy or making unhealthy decisions. I mean, there is that, like eating right is a good thing, but it's just so much weight.
Yep.
It's a lot of stress and it doesn't leave you when you leave the building.
No.
That's the difference. Like there is no clock in, clock out for me, and there are other individuals in this building. I know you're the same way. You feel that weight all the time.
Yep.
And so that is all consuming.
Yep.
Starts taking your life away.
100%.
And I think where we're at right now, we're on a mission to get our lives back,
yeah,
which is good. And I've watched it. I mean, it's so much better now than it was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
We just have the problems they're not bigger. They just fly at you faster when you grow.
Yep.
That's what I've found to be true. You get better at dealing with problems.
Yeah.
But they come at you from weird angles you never thought they would come at you from, and they come really, really quickly.
Oh yeah. Any entrepreneur knows that you don't know how many different ways you can get punched in the face. But my personal stance on it is that as early as like 3 years ago, it seemed like every weekend was all consuming. And now it's like, okay, I get my weekend back. Didn't have a single emergency phone call hit my cell all weekend. This is great. We're spreading out. And then you get a taste like the last 2 weeks, which is a quick, humbling reminder of growth in the business.
Yeah.
So we've been having recent issues with a role that most people wouldn't suspect.
Customer service.
So we have, everyone talks about a shortage of specific skilled technicians and trades, which is very true. We
deal with that too. Yeah.
One of the hardest things we have found is finding a front of line person who can triage all inbound communication into the correct channels. And let's talk about it. A perfect example of owner of company, you've had to sit at the desk to alleviate time just so that we have people not wanting to quit. Like that's how aggressive it's been at this caliber of growth. Talk about it.
Yeah, it's gotten to the point where if you don't have enough people manning the phone lines and it starts getting cold, which is what we dealt with in the last 3 weeks, of course you're going to have burnout.
Yep.
And our solution to that temporarily was actually that I step into that role and field phone calls.
Yep.
That's how bad it got. It's not like we have an adequate staff of people that can handle phone calls, but just having one more is the difference maker. And I'm not going to let people drown. So, and it's been good for me. I learned a lot. It's a job that I haven't done in 5 years. And when I did it, it was just to fill in. Like somebody got sick. And when we were smaller, if one person gets sick, it's a big deal, right? Not so much the case anymore, but no, I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot, and it's been tough. But I think the problem for us is that we do have a really high standard for the person that's in that seat.
Yeah.
And we have expectations for how they're going to handle things. And we ask a lot of them. It is not just what we don't want is when somebody calls in, we say, well, our next available is in December. And there's no effort in trying to get them in sooner. There's no wanting to take care of the customer and find a solution and pivot and make these things happen. It's really easy to get a call placed on a board. That's not hard.
Yep.
AI can do that. But to do it the right way and make sure the customers are taken care of, that's a special person.
Yes.
They have to be able to do that. And as we found, if they're not the right person, they can't stay here.
Yep.
It's not going to work. It's not good for them.
Yeah.
Because they won't be able to meet our expectations. It's not good for the customers and it's not good for the company. So, we're not going to lower our standards just to fill a seat. And I think that's
what everyone else is often forced with the decision of, do I lower my standards to alleviate this problem and just hope that it goes away or fixes itself?
No, you ride the wave. You go, don't lower your standards. And sometimes that means you're the boss and you got to pick up phone calls.
100%. Jump in the fire with them. Yeah. That's
it's opened my eyes to a lot of, inefficiencies, a lot of I wrote the CSR handbook for how we handle each situation.
Email right now to review.
And I'll be honest and say I wrote it before I was in that position.
Yep.
And then immediately the first day I was like, oh, I would have changed this. So
what stood out to you the most?
The scripting that we have, the general scripting, it's too rigid.
Yeah.
There needs to be a little bit more flexibility.
Of course.
Which is natural. I mean, we weren't trying to build a robotic script, but even then it's too much information. And the phone calls that you get, they range.
Oh man.
They range from, I had a lovely gal up in Ferndale. I mean, for 20 minutes, she was telling me about her parents.
Yep.
And they're going, one of her parents is in hospice. The other one's living in California. We just had a 20-minute long conversation. I could tell she needed that.
Yep.
But you don't anticipate that.
No.
I didn't anticipate that that's what the people in the front were dealing with.
Yes.
All the while, the phone is blowing up.
Yep.
In the background. And I know that other people need me, but so there's that. How do you plan for that? You don't.
You can't, and it's the age old. Everyone thinks oh, just hire more help, and it's help is very expensive. help is very hard to manage when it's, if you spread out 7 people to a task that only one understands, it's very hard to up that. But I would totally agree with you. Whatever comes in inbound on that phone totally ranges. And do you try and expedite the person's experience on the phone because you got to get to the next problem person? It's a challenge.
I think also, and I would think, like, if I was a technician, I would want me or Nada to be the person setting up that phone call. The reality is that's the first interaction they have with the company, potentially. That sets the stage. Like, if you are just, if they can tell on the other end of the line, you're just doing your job to do your job, and there's no good feeling coming to that, it becomes transactional. It's not great. But if you care, you put in the effort to try to get that customer in sooner, or give them a little bit of information they didn't know that they needed to know, or whatever that may be, sets the stage up for your technician to go do a great job. And then the technician's going to feel better. The customer's going to feel great about the interaction. It's a totally different thing. And that's the difference between keeping a customer for life and being like everybody else. So I think standard has to be there.
Absolutely. That is like the core philosophy that I've been trying to drill since even before I was fully immersed in the HVAC world. Was I consider that part to be easy. It's like, what does this person need for their solution? They're clearly taking the time out of their day to call us. And how do you get all the puzzle pieces to not only achieve it, but go 2 steps beyond? And I think we're very good at that. But like you said, it's very bloody hard to do in scale. And the hilarious part about this business is, you grow one fast to the company, and then the other one surprises you when it comes back. It's like, okay, so we do great marketing for a little while, and then I'll be damned, phones ring off the hook earlier than we expect. And it's like, okay, now you got to adjust and pivot and move and be smart. So
I have never seen the amount of call volume that we have now. This early. Never. And I understand you grow and it grows, but like, as a ratio of people to calls coming in, I've never ever seen that. So your marketing's working. We're getting the phone calls. It's just, and like I said, I think that we just have a little bit of a higher standard than a call center. I mean, you've heard we've had an after hours answering service, and you listen to the phone calls. It's terrible. It's not what we want our customers to deal with. So, like I said, it'd be really easy to have a call center with 10 people in there, and they just take a call and they place it on the board and somebody else deals with it. That's easy, but that's not what we're going to do. No, it just doesn't fit.
Well, and even like you said, the last part, we strive to make someone's experience, no matter what they're dealing with, a 5-star experience. But as a company, we're limited to, good luck trying to find someone who wants to work the hours of 7 to 11 at night and be fully competent and knowledgeable in what we do. So what we as a company resort to is after our call services, they take in the information, they point it to the correct person. And if you, the customer, has a less than stellar experience with that entity that's not us, it represents us, which is frustrating, but it's not us. It's super tricky.
Yeah.
It's super challenging to keep the bar as high as we want it. And then someone's like, yeah, that was a really weird phone call last night. It's like, we know. Sorry, that person was probably in Atlanta, Georgia, trying to ask you for the 4th time if you didn't have heat. Frustrates us too. But
it's really frustrating.
Yeah. In a perfect world, I dream of like sitting on the couch and be like, route all the calls to me at night.
That's what it used to be.
It used to be that. And then Jake watched me lose my mind, and I said I couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Because, nothing's harder than when you're getting pancakes and you're excited for your Saturday morning, and then it's like, my house is on fire, my monoxide detectors are blowing up, and you have to walk away from your family and the table. And so as a company, I think that's one part that people don't see is every intention is always there for a 5-star experience. Executing that at the volume we do is crazy challenging.
Really hard.
Insanely hard. And
really hard. Yeah.
I respectfully say this to anyone listening, for anyone who has ideas to do it better, come see what we do first. And then if you can see what we're doing and poke holes in it, I'll be the first one to listen. But I'd say that's a very underestimated thing that we focus on. One thing that you did last week when I was in the office that I think is commendable is we had a new hire who interviewed very well. We thought it was going to be a good candidate addition.
Top 5 interviews I've ever had, ever.
And this was hard for me because this was one of the few people that's been hired where I didn't even get to talk to him. I wasn't part of this interview process at all, right? So I took your word for it. I was pumped. Seemed like a nice person. We put him into the seat. They start to have a few deficiencies, but none that we don't think are trainable. But why don't you talk about that Friday? Because I think this is commendable as a company when we talk about standards.
Well, we the phones. It wasn't a cold day, so the phones were starting to die down, and it was 4:55.
Yep.
Shift ends at 5, and a couple of other people in the office were letting him know, hey, the shift ends at 5 because he was about to leave.
Yep.
And then he just left.
Yeah.
So 5 minutes. But the point is you abandon your team.
Yeah.
So he got fired 15 minutes later.
Yep.
It was a no-brainer. I mean, you don't do that.
You don't do that to your teammate when the whole purpose and coverage and commitment we have to our customers is we're going to be there for you. Anyone who works in HVAC or the trades knows that Friday afternoon is bewitching hour. That's when all the weird stuff comes in. The last 2 hours is when you get a call from one of your longtime customers that's having a incredibly horrible, unique experience that's going to be complicated to solve. And left his teammate with 5 minutes before the day, and we don't accept that. And I think it speaks volumes to us as a company of if you're not going to support me, and vice versa in this very challenging job, you're out of here.
Internal employees have to be taken care of first. And if you're not contributing to that, then we have a problem.
Yeah.
We have a big problem. And I think, we had a company meeting yesterday. I think I made myself really clear. Like that's cardinal sin.
It's everything.
You don't do that. You don't abandon your teammates ever.
Yep.
And you can't put up with that. It's not about leaving 5 minutes early. Like there's potentially days where you can do that.
Yep.
As long as there's coverage, but you're in your first week and you make the executive decision to do the wrong thing.
Yep.
That's not okay.
Nope.
So
yeah,
is what it is. And that's what we mean. I think they probably could have been effective as a person on the phones, but if it's not somebody that you want sitting next to you, it's not somebody you can count on, then good luck at your next place because that's not going to be here. It's really simple.
I would say that kind of stuff will fly around other occupations in town, but definitely not here.
No,
not here.
And that means I've had to step into that seat, and that's painful.
Yep.
Because I've been coming here pretty early and leaving pretty late.
Yeah.
And I understand how that goes, and it's seasons. Like I was explaining this yesterday to somebody. You go through seasons in business where you're in a sprint. Yep. Like you've got to just batten down the hatches and go for it.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like that forever. But
and I think that's the most terrifying part is in any physical endurance test or anything, if you know where your finish line is, you can get your body there, right? It's very hard for us because we don't know if it's going to be 1 week, 3 months. So you've been getting here at the office at 4 a.m. Recently. And that is bloody hard to sustain when it's like, when is the end of the tunnel? And then you have someone who's like, never.
It gets when you grow, I mean, it just comes from different places.
Yeah.
It gets harder in different aspects. Other aspects get easier. If we have a lot of support and we have a lot of people that could step in and fulfill other roles. So it's not like if one person leaves, the whole thing tumbles. But that's what it was 5 years ago. Yeah. One person leaves and the whole thing comes to a screeching halt. It's really, that's why it's hard to grow.
Yep.
Is if you have turnover at a higher rate than you're bringing people in, you have a big problem. So but we're not really talking about, turnover. We're talking about company generated turnover. And I said this too, if you don't have company generated turnover, you have declining standards.
Yep.
And that's just a fact.
Yep.
You can't sit and do nothing. And the good people in the organization, they don't want to work with the people that are coasting. They just don't. And those people will leave. The good people will leave.
100%.
And that's been a hard lesson for me too. I mean, I've known that, but I think in the last year and a half, I've really clued in on the fact that you don't get to let people spoil the water.
Yep.
You know? So you can't do that.
Can't do that. If you got guys carrying more weight that they shouldn't, it gets challenging hard. But every day, all day, it's never going to not be a challenge. But I do want to talk about something as far as why this is all worth it. We're very excited to start on Comfort for a Cause.
Yes.
Every ounce of effort we do into designing processes, helping people and everything. This is an extension of that, but a little bit of a different thing from us at Mars. This will be year number 3. Do you remember how this came about? Because I think you were the one that had the idea first when we first started talking about this. Go ahead and talk about what we have on the docket for this year.
Yeah. So what we do every year, we open a submission so people can nominate people in their family, friends for a free high efficiency HVAC system. So a heat pump, really. Yep. And there's just a lot of people out there. Like, we understand it's a big expense. It's a huge investment. Some of these systems cost as much as a car.
Yep.
So not everybody can afford that. And not everybody's in a position to be able to get heat on in their house, something that we deem pretty basic, right?
Yep.
The equivalent of having running water in a modern day house, and they don't have it. So,
yeah.
And there's a lot of people out there. I think the shocking thing for me is when we open the nominations up, how many there are, and how many people truly don't have a reliable heat source. And they feel the weight of that because they know any given moment that old furnace is going to give out and they're hooped.
Yeah.
So it's our way of saying, hey, the community, they've supported us for 60 years. Let's give back.
Yes.
So 2 full systems and 1 furnace only are going to be given away. Labor, everything covered, equipment by us. So yeah, it's a big deal.
It's going to be a big deal. And I love where the idea came from. So when you first came to me about this back in whatever year that was, and you said that, hey, we have a few units that are able to be used for a certain purpose, but I have an idea. And instantly I was like, that's great, because we get absolutely hit over the head all year long with people who we want to help, but we can't due to their financial constraints.
Yep.
So this is kind of who that's targeted for. And like you said, the nominations will smack you. We'll get people writing in, and it's like, their grandfather is 91. He's living in a house alone. He hasn't had heat for 4 months, and we're just about to enter December. And we walk in, and the ambient temperature inside the house is like 44 degrees and dropping. So
and he's been using, coats and space heaters, and there's just no, a lot of people, they've been on a fixed income for 30 years and they just don't, they just can't do anything.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy when you think how hard life is as it is. And for some of these people, it's like the last thing that they can think to tackle that day. So I'm pretty excited. The ones last year were a great success. We had Melissa, who was a single mom of 2 boys. She was working 3 jobs in her house in Ferndale, and the unit had been dead for several months. That was an exciting one. I was super excited to work with, if you remember Phil, he was a volunteer at Linden High School, and he helped with young men who grew up without dads. And then the poor guy himself lost his wife
couple months prior, right?
Not even 2 months before, or something like that. So it's just very, very exciting for us, and it's a lot of coordination on our side. A lot of work goes into it. But it's a labor of love, right? We'll get. Last year we had 120 nominations. I think this year we'll probably double it, with the word getting out about how it works and how we're talking about it a little bit. But essentially, yes, if you know someone that is in need of a new heating system, and that can be yourself too. We had a lot of people nominating, this is what's going on in my life, and they would describe what's going on and a story about themselves. It'll be between November 15th and November 30th is the stage of nominations. If you go to our website, marsheating.com, you'll see a button that takes you to the form. Please fill it out with address and contact information. And then right at the end of November, we're going to be going through all nominations to pick the 3 recipients that we're going to be going to design the system for. And
it's a hard thing to pick too.
Incredibly challenging.
It's very challenging. Obviously, we want to help everybody. We just can't. Yep. But no, and I think the big thing too is, we want to reduce their recurring costs too. So high efficiency.
Yep.
Let's lower the utility bills. Win-win.
Yep. Well, I talked about this today. This is no small feat. The total expenditure coming from Mars to get this stuff done is around the range of $52,000. So a lot of work that we're putting up. And like you said, I would agree and say that's the hardest part. Out of 120 nominations, to whittle it down to 3 people.
Yep.
We often have staff giving votes for who they think should get it. And then it's a lot that goes into it. I'm excited. It's going to be kind of a whirlwind. I'd imagine the next time we get here in this stage, we'll be able to talk a little bit more about either the process is done or we're right in the thick of it. We'll probably be going through that, but I'm excited.
I am too.
About to go into fall and get that ripping. But
it's been cold this year. It's
weirdly
cold hit earlier this year than I can remember in the last 5.
I would agree.
Yeah. Yeah, last year was really, really a slow takeoff, but this year that cold hit early. We've been getting hit hard.
It was. I still was shocked when I pulled the vehicle out 3 weeks ago, and it was 29 degrees that morning, and I was like, "Oh my goodness!" Here we go. We're off to the races. So it'll be interesting. I think we might be in for an actual winter, which
La Nina.
Yeah.
It's a La Nina, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what comes of it, but cool. Well, I want to ask you the most important question of the day, and I know you've been waiting for me to ask you this all day, thinking about it. What are you dressing as for Halloween? That's right. I asked him. Don't lie to me.
Well, nothing. That's the real answer. I don't know.
What if I challenged you to come in tomorrow in an outfit? Would you do it?
I'd politely decline.
Politely decline?
Politely, yeah.
That's good of you.
As I'm doing better now.
Okay.
No, I don't work that way.
That's
as good of a way as I can put it. I don't work that way.
I don't have fun. I wake up at 4 a.m. and solve problems.
Yeah, it's just there's nothing there. The background on my Halloween experience as a kid.
God.
Okay.
Oh God.
Let's talk about childhood trauma today. No, we used to go up until I was 6. We go trick or treating, and Dad's always like, "Let's get to the point. I don't want to be walking around here all night, right?" So instead, when I turned 7, I remember he looked at me and he said, "What if we just went to the store and I bought you all the candy you wanted?"
You're joking.
No, this is real. And I said, "That sounds like a good deal to me. I don't want to have to walk around and get one piece of candy per house." He's like, "Yeah, I'll buy you whatever you want. We can sit at home and watch a movie. How's that sound?" I'm like, "That's great." So from 6 forward, I've never dressed up. I've never gone trick-or-treating.
You're killing me right now, man.
It's real.
I know, but when you tell me stories like this, it shapes out exactly who the man is that I work with. The way you make decisions and everything comes hey, you know what? You know this holiday that everyone does and celebrates? Let's just skip right past it and get to the good.
No fluff.
No fluff.
No fluff. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I get the appeal, but it's not for me. No, that was ruined.
That's so funny, man.
But he's like that with everything. And that's, not everybody can do this, but I feel like he's really good at that. And that's what I've gotten to is what is the rule that we're playing by? But why is that rule there?
Yep.
And can I skip to the end and just get to the end here? Because these rules are really constraining me.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how you have to be here if you're going to be in business too, is if you play by the rules on everything and you follow these little direct paths that you think are laid out for you, good luck.
Well, I would agree.
You're not going to get anywhere.
Defying the norms is the way I look at it. Yeah. I don't, whatever someone expects you to do, it's okay, reverse engineer this to be 10 times cooler than that. So
if/when I have kids, I'll get really into trick-or-treating, I'm sure. I will not do the same thing. I'll let them tell me when they're
You don't
done.
think so? You don't think you're going to do the same thing and be like, I want them to be like me?
I have a feeling I'm not going to do the same thing. But
okay.
For me, I will say I was pretty over it too. I remember being like, God, we got to go drive all the way to Bellingham because we didn't live in Bellingham. You know, you got to go.
That's true.
Got to go to where
true.
the houses are. So you got to drive out there. Then you got to walk around. And this gal's giving out a muffin. I don't want a muffin. I want candy. So, yeah, if we can cut to the short part and just get a bag of candy, we're good to go.
So funny, man. Yeah. I've never heard that story.
No, it's real.
Oh my gosh,
that's real.
That's pretty messed up. So, like when you're going back to the lunchroom, because you said 6 years old, you stopped.
Yeah,
7 is quite young still, man. And you're going to lunchroom, and all the kids have like their supply, and you're talking about what do you got? Trade this, that. Did that ever come up? Like,
I had a kid who was a neighbor friend of mine, and he thought it was really weird. That's all I remember.
This guy's locked in his house, I think.
Yeah.
Against his will.
Yeah. No. Aside from that, I mean, it was pretty normal. It seemed normal to me. I didn't know. But like I said, we grew up in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. So a lot of kids didn't even go.
Yep.
Right.
No, that's true. I've never thought about that.
So we had to drive into town. I remember going to James Street Estates, you know, same place with the Christmas lights. We'd go drive through there. And there's a couple neighborhoods up off Britton Road we go to. But it got to a point where, and I remember, you know, Dad was always tired because he'd always been working all day.
Of course.
And so I understand why now.
Brother,
I understand why.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
I can't. You should tell the story about the baseball catch because that's my other one when it shows like what this business is like.
I remember I'd always ask Dad to play catch.
You played baseball for how many years?
Baseball until freshman year of college. I played a little bit. Found out I wasn't that good. Kind of abandoned that. Became not fun. It became a job. I didn't realize.
Understate it. You still played at a collegiate level.
Yeah. Had a scholarship. Did that for a year.
Yep.
And just it became a job. But I remember, you know, wanting Dad to play catch when he got home, and he was beat. I remember the look on his face every day when he came home from work. I mean, he was
operating this place 14, 16 hours a day.
Yeah, and he had 4 kids and 10 acres to take care of, and, you know, stretched pretty thin. And I remember this was consistent. I'd ask him to play catch, and he had a recycling bin that he'd set out in the yard, and he'd go sit down on it. He's like, you throw it to me, I'm rolling it back. I can't do this today. But, you know.
You described it to me, and he was like slumped over.
Yeah, it was like that. And I remember, too, if I missed and it went by him, I had to go get it. And that's how I got accurate.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
Yeah, man.
If I missed, there was repercussions. I had to go get it, and I threw hard. So it'd be, 200 feet beyond him. I didn't want to keep doing that. Yeah.
It's so funny.
I had a different childhood than a lot of people.
Well,
but bad. It wasn't bad.
That's the thing is like you can't, by what do you measure good or bad? Because look where you are now.
Yeah.
You have a great head on your shoulder. You carry, a little bit of trauma like everyone does. But my favorite part about you is that when people say they carry trauma, yours is just such a funny flavor.
Ken he just means well. And he there was never a question of whether or not, he would always participate if I asked him to.
Yeah.
So that was always there. But the level of participation was questionable at times.
Yeah.
So that's all right.
I loved how he came up that one time when we were all skiing and stuff. And he basically said, he's like, you guys it's so cool. You're working with your best friends and you're working hard and you're growing and you're making money. And you could just see like kind of like the pain in his eyes because he had nothing.
Yeah.
He had no one to lean on.
Yeah. 30 years of pain.
Total different. And don't get me wrong. Like this still feels like an absolute bloodbath of a grind. But I can't imagine what that guy, without, like you said, any sight into what was going on. You could say somewhat trustworthy people, but not like we know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
it was a different business.
Yeah.
It really was. The one thing that he always did right, your word is as good as gold.
Yep.
take care of customers, like all the fundamentals were there. And that's why people that have used us forever still use us. I mean, those fundamentals were there. We just couldn't scale it because it was a people problem.
Well, it's almost a hilarious problem. We joke about this, but Ken Marr's, best friends were some of our worst customers over the last few years because Ken was so good at looking after people in the community. Like if he helped you out 2 years later and you called him 2 years later, he would show up at your door that night. And now we know what he was dealing with, 4 kids and crazy hours.
Well, he didn't charge people.
He would make it right for free.
He would make it right for free. And then those people kind of got used to that. And then I stepped in and I was like, well, kind of what's the point? Like we have to make money if we're going to keep grow a good place and be able to take care of people. Like you need money to do that. It's not a nonprofit. So it changed.
It was looking, like you said, looking after people at the expense of your own self.
Yeah. You can't do that.
You would have absolutely burned the candle completely to the end. So,
Well, and he recognized it too. He just, again, it's easier. It would have, if you go out at 9 o'clock at night and you're dealing with something, it's easier to just say, I'm just going to take care of this, because then you don't have to create an invoice. You don't have to deal with the uncomfortable conversation. And if you're that burned out, that's the way out.
Yeah.
So I understand it.
He's a legend in my mind for what he's done and always will be.
Absolutely.
But I do want to ask this because I'm not going to lie to you. These stories make my day every freaking time. Tell me about the gas pipe and the crawl space. You remember the story you were mentioning where, was it the first one you got sent on or something?
Oh, yeah. No, there was duct work. It was duct work in a crawl space.
And this was your first day on the job?
First day on the job. I was 12. I think there's a picture.
You're 12.
No, there's a picture. Well, Brian will put it up. There's a picture of me standing next to the truck, and it was Dad's picture of my first day, and I was smiling.
Right. I've seen
smiling next to the truck. Yep. My hat's all weird, looked disheveled.
190 pounds.
That was before I got on the job. Yeah, that was happy me before I showed up to the job. What I didn't know is he found the worst crawl space. He happened to get a call for somebody needed ducting redone.
Yeah.
And we used to do a lot of steel duct work, all steel.
Yep.
So no flex duct, all steel. Had to wrap it and insulate it and seal it. So these jobs would be like a week and a half, like long, long days. And he found this crawl space and he's like, I don't know who's going to fit in there. And he didn't tell me about this until a couple of years ago. He said, I had the idea. He's like, well, I was about his age when I did this. So I'm going to send him with Pavel, who was a guy that we had for 20 years, really hardworking guy, super good at what he did. And I get under there, and I mean it. It was this the whole way. And we had to start in the back and work our way out, because once we started laying the ducting, we could not get back in there.
Yeah.
And it's a forever duct system. And the problem was he had rats.
Yep.
And I didn't really fully grasp how bad the rat problem was either. And we started going down there, and I just see all these tunnels. They're everywhere. And we start working our way back. And then next thing I know, I'm like, man, something just really smells bad. Oh, God. Something really smells bad. And when you're in a crawl space, anybody that's worked in a crawl space knows that you take little breaks, and they're like a 5-minute nap. Okay. So you just kind of put your head down.
You let your shoulders relax.
Yeah, you just relax, and you okay, I'm very uncomfortable, but I need to take a break here. And so I had my headlamp off, and I was just face down, just hanging out, 12, 13. And then it smelled so bad that I turned my headlamp on, and there was just on my got all over my respirator was a liquefied rat. And I'll never forget that. And then I quit. So I just walked out of the crawl space, and I said, Mom, can you come pick me up? So my mom in her minivan came and picked me up from this job site, which
cursing out your pops.
Yeah, it was on Smith Road, East Smith Road. I remember the house, and so I get back to the house, and my dad, he finds out that I quit, and Mom came and picked me up, and he said, and it's a lesson again on not abandoning your teammates. He said, if you don't go back and help him finish that job, I'm going to go help him finish the job, and you're never going to work for me again.
Yep.
And then I went back.
Yep.
Then we finished the job.
It kills me every time. Yeah. Every time I listen to it, because I have seen this picture. I'm excited for it to be put up on the screen.
Yeah. That was pre-knowing what I was getting
You
into.
look like you're 85 pounds wet. And that's just a liquefied rat on your respirator.
Well, and there were live rats all over in there. Like, and you don't see them usually, but you can hear them.
Well,
you can hear them, and you're vulnerable. You're crawling through there, and you got coveralls on. You're worried about them getting in your coveralls. Like, it's horrible.
Yep.
It's horrible. So, but I didn't know until a couple of years ago that he took the job only because he knew that I would go do it.
Yep.
Otherwise, he's like, oh, I never would have taken that job. Horrible job.
Yep.
He's like, yeah, that's definitely the worst I've seen too.
Look at you now.
Yeah.
You're fine.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. You just carry a chip on your shoulder.
Little chip. Struggle builds you. We had other jobs like that, and like Jacob Marr, who's here, he was my install apprentice. Well, if I hadn't gone through that,
yep,
and he hadn't showed up and become my apprentice and seen when we ran across really bad jobs, we had a job. It was November. It was on Sand Road. It was like, I don't know, 8 years ago. And we showed up and we had to do this whole job. And we get underneath there, and I went to go press on the vapor barrier in the crawl space, and it was like, boom.
Oh.
There was 6 inches of water.
Yep.
And it was cold. I mean, it was cold. I mean, it's cold water. And it was like, I just jumped in.
Yep.
It's like, well, we're going to get cold and wet either way. So there's no way we're pumping this whole crawl space out.
Time.
And these people have no heat now because we've already ripped their equipment out. So let's get after it. And so he watched me, and he got that. And then we just kept building the culture off of that.
100%.
And so it set the stage for how we operate.
I was just going to say, your little experience with the liquefied rat, I still think that takes the cake for the one I've heard, but I've witnessed people have to have small moments like that. And it feels like either I get the call or you get the call, and we have to be like,
yeah,
hey, so, your kind of livelihood and ability to do hard stuff in the future depends on how you're going to deal with this situation. And I mean, we could joke about them all day long, but I have some favorites in my head. When Jordan put the drill bit through his lip, and then he called me, and all I can hear is through his lip, I'm bleeding everywhere.
Yeah.
It was your birthday, because I was like, I'm just giving you a heads up. I think I got to call this guy off the job site. He's got dead batteries in his tools, drill bits, dull, and I'll never forget.
He was really green too.
He was green.
Like really new.
We had to get it done, and I just laughed because I remember you being like, Nah, he's been talking, and he was talking a big game. He was a junior guy thinking that he should be moving up quicker and getting paid quicker. Him. Yeah. Leave him. And so anyway, it was like another hour and a half of struggle bus before I was like, okay, this just isn't working. It makes me laugh every time because I'll just never forget that. I'm bleeding everywhere. Like in the customer's house. Yeah, go grab some paper towel. There isn't any. Jordan, figure it out. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah, it's like it's my favorite. And then, we watch boys turn into men.
He's a good tech.
He's a great tech, and he's learned from that. I still consider him just to be such a youngin'. Like,
he's very young.
And I've told him that. I said, man, you put 8 years under your belt, you are going to be a force to be reckoned with. So, yeah, I love.
There's examples of that everywhere here.
100%. Yeah. There's but we've almost witnessed it break numerous people at the onset. And it's like, this is going to define you, Yeah,
if you don't get broken, then you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
But if you break and you quit,
yeah,
it's like anything else you quit. It's gone.
Yeah.
Opportunity's gone. So, get through it. Not every day is going to be bad, but you're going to have some bad ones. It's just like anything.
Yeah. There's so much PTSD floating around in my mind right now. The long weekends. Cool, buddy. Well, I think we just want to check in with people before we kick things off with a bang. Got anything else going for start of next month worth mentioning?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think we're
a lot of generators.
Getting
a lot of phone calls for generators. So if you're one of those people, give us a call.
Yeah.
But
yeah, we're just at that point now where we enter storm season. So if you're in a vulnerable area, you're used to power outages at your house disrupting your winter, or you're a place like Sudden Valley where one phone line puts you out for a week. A week isn't acceptable. You know, that'll put anyone's house in danger. Give us a call on stuff like that. But otherwise, we will see you soon at, once again, from Whispers from the Crawl. Thanks for coming, guys. Appreciate it.